Diamonds, no filter. This segment, we have to speak about interracial dating.
Okay.
It's very, very important to me. Dr. Umar, shout out to Dr. Umar. I want to say this on camera. I really believe that you handle yourself very well on the Roland Martin show.
Facts.
I like your spirit and where you're going and your scholarship as of lately. So I salute you and I commend you, and we proud of you. And this is coming from Doggie Diamonds. You've been making me very, very proud. Personally, and I like the way you've been representing us as a people.
Respect.
He spoke on interracial dating. I don't disagree with him. I'm 100% in agreement. Me and you had the dialogue about Serena Williams. Mm-hmm. The Bedouins theories goes back to interracial dating. The retort to that and the rebuttal to that is, why can't people love who they want to love? Love doesn't have color. People should love who they want to love. Now, before you answer, I will say this. I see black people going hard when it comes to interracial dating. And that's what y'all say to me. You can love who you want to love. Love is love. But I don't see white people say that when they're talking. I don't even see them defend interracial dating. They like, fuck it, we do what the fuck we want. Shit, we've been interracial dating by force, whether y'all liked it or not. And it wasn't even dating. It was interracial raping. And they've been doing that since they stole us. You know what I'm saying? Because, I don't like to really talk about slavery too much because slavery wasn't illegal. You know what I'm saying? A lot of time we say slavery. The shit wasn't illegal, so there was nothing wrong with it. Or morally it was fucked up. But it wasn't illegal. They had to make it illegal for them to so-called stop, and then they changed the concept of slavery and how they enslaved us. So, I don't believe, if you're for being pro-black and you're for black power, to the dude who I just deleted off my Facebook the other day for talking dumb shit, you're going to see this. How could you be for black people if you don't even want to reproduce more black people? Doesn't make any sense to me. So, for Brother Sankofa, we talked about the Serena Williams offline, and then we just the whole thing of people saying, well, why can't you just love who you want to love? Love isn't a color. What do you want to say to those people?
Love is more than just... See, you can love the wrong thing. A pedophile loves children.
Yeah.
A crackhead loves crack.
Yeah.
A stick-up kid loves to rob.
Loves stick-ups.
It's an emotion.
Yeah.
But I believe that this blind love or blind emotionalism, because that's what they're really saying, that's what it interprets as me with my analytical mind and my intellectual prowess allows me to deduce from that, from the most part, because let's be real, some people will meet people, and I'm against this. I'm not condoning it, that they actually, because of time, place, condition, circumstance, and whatever have you, maybe from different races, not just black and white. It might be an East Indian with a Chinese person. It might be a white man with a Japanese woman, and maybe an African-American black woman with a damn Brazilian, or a white man. That happens. Whether we agree with it or not, that happens. Mm-hmm. But I believe that there is a blind sense of love because of a blind emotionalism that we're dealing with. And it has a lot to do with many factors in which I'll go into. Because people say that love is blind, but we don't see at the rate that we're seeing our black women on this vast exodus from black men to white men. They're not even just going for the China man, the East Indian man, the Arab man, and all these people here in America and prospering. You know what I mean? A lot of them, for the most part, from what I see, or which is more prevalent to me, and I think most people will agree, is them navigating towards white men. We have to ask ourselves, why them? Why, if love is blind, isn't everybody in other races running their women on the same level
to white men?
To white men or other men. Why us? And then when you align that with the psychological damage that I just gave you an example of, the black and white doll in the 1950s, these are the children and grandchildren of these people who love is blind to. You know what I mean? If you love, God is love, they say. But there's a blind concept, spiritualness of God that they have in their mind that allows them to say that, where the God that they're worshiping is from the religion of the people that gave it to them that oppressed them in the first place. God is just love. God doesn't teach hate, but the same people that gave you, I'm going somewhere with the point. That concept of God is the people that hated you at the same time. There was a time your ass couldn't even be seen in public. Either way, I mean, a white man can have your woman and have this way with your women, and it's going to tie into my point too, because women are spoils of war. Women are spoils of war. And when I say warfare, don't think it's just a bunch of insurgents with weapons shooting and killing and blowing up things with missiles and tanks. No, that is a form of war. That is politics with bloodshed. It is that dynamic of war. But war is multidimensional. War is spiritual, it's mental, psychological, which is mental. You know what I mean? So being that we are, and it's economic, and it's political, and it's academic. And one thing about women is they want to feel secure. Security is everything in a relationship. Security makes a man attractive. A woman feeling secure, or man, or seeing that she can be secure with him, is a form of attraction to that, outside of just the exterior perception in a person's looks. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So because we are the economic and political warfare that we are, by design, sociological design, we are losing, and this warfare accelerated from the late 60s down. Love wasn't that blind when, you had two more black and you had black parents in the household, the mother and the father. Before 1968, you didn't see a decline. In the early 70s, you didn't see a decline like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because of the jobs, the factories being, sold to across seas or taken out of the urban communities. The great white flight, outsourcing, the great white flight took place when we moved in. They moved out. Love wasn't never blind for nobody else. They know who their enemy is, which is us. Even though along some lines, because that's what happens, some people are going to just connect. But there is not this big mass movement in no other race of women, okay, like it is in our women. And simultaneously, our women have a lot of insecure issues with their psychology, okay? For instance, and I love my queens and black sisters, and I only talk out of love when I'm saying this. I'm never down in the sisters. I love y'all. I ride and I die for y'all. As much as sometimes the queens get on my nerves, I'm in this for the long haul and for the fight and to the death. I want to establish that I'm never going to give up. Yep. Flaws and alls that we have as a people, I'm committed to this. But that doesn't mean that nobody's above critique. And I can't give my outlook on things and put it in perspective. Because at the end of that, we want to talk about solutions next.
Facts.
But from my perspective, okay, at hand, nobody adores mixed children more than black women.
Yeah.
Do you think some of that blind love ties into that somewhere? They want their kids to have good hair. When I was a kid, you know what I'm saying? That the people were like that. So I think a lot of people, the blind love or the emotionalism, the blind emotionalism that is tied into intergenerational indoctrination of them being inferior, and then people having more political, economic power and status,
which gives them security.
Which gives you security. Women, and then you see them moving more so back into the urban areas through gentrification. All this blind love and mixing is happening simultaneously with that. Can we factor all of that out and not look that in? There was a time, race mixing was against the law until the Lovins Act that was passed in West Virginia in the 1960s. Okay, it was a woman and a white man, a black woman at that, and a white man, who a law was passed because it was against the law, miscegenation, race mixing or marriage between people of different races, especially white and black, because of the Racial Integrity Acts that were enacted in the 1920s. And even before that, you knew better than that. Your ass would be hanging from a light pole or a tree. You know what I mean? There was a little racial integrity and cultural continuity that we knew that we had to maintain. You see, along with integration and along with the you've seen the depletion of the black household because of the jobs that are being outsourced, the influx of drugs and the heroin epidemic and during the time of the Vietnam Wars, where you see black gangs and poverty and alcoholism and drug addiction at an accelerated, not to say it never existed, but it accelerated on a level never seen before, where it became a real social epidemic. From that time on up to the Reaganomics, where you see a lot of black men dying off from gang violence.
Crack cocaine.
So you have a lot of people who are psychologically destroyed, who are politically impotent and economically impotent as well. You know what I'm saying? This can make you an undesirable element in society. And because your women are a part of the society that they're in, by social design, they raised them above you. A lot of people who they felt was in their class and financial bracket, and even, you know what I'm saying, sociological speaking wise, in their bracket on that level, they felt blindly, that is, that they were, not every sister too, because some people attract to white men for different reasons. We don't want to box everything, but I'm trying to sum everything up and put it in perspective with the time frame in which we have to do so, because I can go into this heavy. Okay?
Let's not forget too that a lot of the black men were forced out of the house if a woman wanted to get public assistance.
I was going to go into that. Because welfare, when you say welfare backwards, it sounds like farewell.
Yep.
And this was, the man had to be, you know, she had to say farewell to the man. In order for you to get welfare, TV show Claudine, man had to climb in the back women, out the back window. A lot of men turn to alcoholism, drugs, crime, and stuff like that for depression. Not everybody, but I'm talking about the collective. You have individualism too, but we're talking about sociological perspectives, because this is a social reality that we're dealing with, not just an individualistic one. So that's why I talk about the social, or I talk about the collective.
What about the women who say, well, I fuck with white dudes because black men ain't shit. And white dudes know how to treat me better. I'm trying to
break down into the whole, because there's not just an answer. See, a lot of times what we want is we want oversimplified answers for critical issues. We want somebody to say, not you, because you always ask, your journalism is on point. But in the streets, people who are not seasoned journalists like yourself, because I've been asked this question many a times over my almost 30 years of being conscious. It's not like black women just started liking white men or had excuses for why they like black or didn't like the black man. You know what I'm saying? This is not new. You know what I mean? So, you know, I would talk to people, and a lot of times when you break down, because they would ask you a critical question, but want a very oversimplified answer. It's because of this. No, it's not. That is a result of X, Y, Z. Things exist and take place in layers and in tiers. Okay? So there's a lot of reasons because they've been psychologically duped. The economic, lashing that we suffered from the 1960s all the way up to now to this very day. Mass incarceration have took many black men off the streets, whereas there's more black men in prison now than there were in slavery in 1850. A lot of black men are dysfunctional, on medication, or on drugs, or committing crimes. A lot of, you know what I'm saying? And by social design, a lot of our women were exalted and given a lot of these different jobs in the places, in the workplaces, in the hospitals, and in the industries where we wasn't even allowed because we have a criminal record, a lot of us. So a lot of these social factors goes into the collectives. When black women say the black man ain't shit, they're talking about a collective perspective. They're not saying every individual. But see, when I answer things and I'm talking about the collective, a lot of people will try to make me give an individualized answer. And it doesn't work like that because we're dealing from a sociological standpoint. There are individual reasons, but a lot of the individuals, because individuals, populations are composed of individuals that make up numbers into populations. A lot of the individuals who I've talked to over the years, whether it's a black man who like white women, because we got to address that too. We don't want to just want to get on the sisters with white men. That's a big issue, and it was bigger before the black women was running off the white men like that. That's one of the factors too. Well, damn, niggas been doing it for all this time.
Jack Johnson.
Every time they get a level of status and financial security, a lot of black men, what are you seeing with? They're trophy white women.
The heavyweight champion of the world,
and then they're psychosomatic enough to convince themselves. That means you really start to believe that your sickness is just normal. You know what I mean? You start to normalize social ills. I call it psychosomaticism. It's really like a physical ailment, but I'm looking at a psychological handicap. You know what I'm saying? And what we would try to do is make sense out of these things because what we see with individuals are prototypes to a lot of us of the collective. So when we say the black man and white men treat me, there's black men out there that was in school that you called a nerd. He wasn't G'd up enough. You attracted to that G nigga. He dogged you out for those who that applies to.
Yes.
And now, Richard or Spencer, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He became more appealing to you because he has a little bit now, after you've been through so much in your environment, not understanding the social dynamics, not understanding the historicity, not even caring about none of that and how it trickled down to be what it is, not having a sense of pro-blackness, black nationalism, or black empowerment in your subconscious. You know what I'm saying? From intergenerationally, and you just see things as they are. You're not dealing with the root of problems. You're only dealing with the branch of the problem. And because of the roots were toxic, the branches are toxic. And by design, because the seed that was planted was toxic from the gate, you just judge the damn toxic fruit. You know what I mean? Instead of trying to uproot the tree and plant new seeds, this is what we do. That's the analogy that I give to that. And that's why I say it like this. It comes down to this, because we can go back and forth on that topic.
Yeah.
And we can get real deep. And I know, time is of the essence. There has to be a separation, not just what like Elijah Muhammad talked about, but also amongst us. We are not all the same.
No.
Because we look the same. I'm not talking about no damn complexion. I'm talking about psychologically. I'm talking about our aspirations in this system. Even people that's walking around with unks on, dashikis, and saying hotep. We are not all the same. There's a lot of coon, like Tommy Sotomayor says, snow-tep niggas out there. And there's a lot of people who deep down inside, they just really want a white woman and want to sound deep and prolific dropping this knowledge, because knowledge is a fad. A lot of these black men out here I'm talking about too, because we talk about the sisters, but you also got to talk about the collective, the brothers and the sisters, and then the psychology behind why a people who spend more money on weave from India, like that TV, like the documentary Good Hair. Mm-hmm. You got to look at all this ties into the collective reason of why love is blind, more so to our women than any other women on the planet. You can't factor out the sociological, political, and economic dynamics that are direct contributors as to why a lot of our women and men foster this attitude. A lot of black men have been done bad by black women because there was no father in the house, and a lot of the stress was taken out on them by black women.
They got
a lot of
issues.
them were left, they got that. You know what I'm saying? So, or mommy issues, because the mama treated them foul, maybe verbally abusive to them. Nigga, you ain't gonna be nothing like your father. Get the hell out my face. Yeah, I'm right, I don't got no dollar. You know what I'm saying? It's real. I grew up in a raw hood. Now, my household wasn't all jacked up all like that. It wasn't damn far from perfect, too, I tell you that. But there were certain things instilled in us that, values that are here. I know some people in the same building I lived on the same block that I'm from, it was rough. You be seeing them out there asking for, knocking on people's door. Can I borrow a hot dog or some Kool-Aid? Ready to fight you because you said no. And a lot of these cats, you'll see them grow up, get a little bit of paper in life, maybe go to college, get themselves together. The first thing they want is something that doesn't remind them of where they came from. Yeah. They don't want a black woman. A lot of them want that white woman because it becomes a trophy. It represents I've overcame the struggle.
Status quo now.
It's a status quo. And then it psychologically feel empowering to them. You know what I'm saying? I got which you can never just get that.
It's taboo, and it's taboo.
And it's taboo. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, the psychological urge, you know what I'm saying, a sexual attraction and the false sense of power that you feel like you have as men, because men by nature are territorial. Okay, we're aggressive by nature, most of us, unless you're, hey. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so that kind of idea, not only that, homosexuality, love is blind when it pertains to that. Love is blind. Why is that an issue? Because if you understand the ominous implications of what will happen to a people who at an accelerated race are practicing miscongenation and race mixing and producing all these half-breeds, nothing's new under the sun either, along with the homosexuality agenda that's going on, because love is at the root of people. I love who I love.
Yeah.
You see, we keep taking the word love and we're just only looking at it from the black woman with the white man instead of looking at the root of the psychology of the sickness on a collective level, where it is relevant at and where it pertains to, whether it's the homosexuality, the damn pedophile, the black man who wants the white woman, or the black woman who wants the white man, and then the psychological roots to that sickness, because it is a sickness for the most part. Some people that, like I said, you made, and I'm not with it, I'm never going to tap dance. Ever. I'm always going to be against that. Some people, let's just be real, I'm a realist, might find somebody, time, place, condition, who they just clicked. However, on a collective level, we know damn well because of the psychological damage that was incurred for us and slavery that was never repaired, and that's why you got to shout out a brother like Dr. Umar Johnson, because as a psychologist, he understands the psychodynamics. And you know what I'm saying? As a psychologist, we need to go into the mind of the consciousness and heal. We've never been healed.
Facts.
We've never been healed. We've been liberated. We were liberated. We have the same God, the same name, eat the same food, and have the same status in society as we had since we was on a damn plantation. We're just not on a plantation. So what is free about you besides a physical freed? Did you know slave was psychological enslavement too? It was a peculiar institution where you were denationalized, where you were taught that you weren't even human. You were taught to hate yourself. The man was taken out of the household. He was made to be a buck. He was made to be the gigolo type, where he had to go breed. If between the ages of 15 and 25 or something like that, you had to produce and make like 15 to 20 kids a year. Because remember, they were breeding children for field hands so they can sell them out. So you would breed them at an accelerated rate. So they would choose certain men and breed them together the same way you would breed dogs. You want that red nose? You know what I'm saying? You want the whatever kind of dog that you want to get, you have to breed. That was breeding us like that. So you got to understand the psychological. When you've been doing this for generations, centuries, and remember, we were in physical slavery when the psychological dynamic was attached to it longer than we were supposedly emancipated.
Wow.
And we were never, the condition was never addressed, and the psychology was never reversed. You don't think that this somehow, shape, form, or fashion plays into the dynamic, socially speaking, today? If we don't, we do intellect a disservice when we try to intellectualize that rationale.
And they say if you tie a dog to a leash, you put a dog on a leash, you could take the leash off after a while. The dog ain't going nowhere because he's just conditioned to be there. And it's just, they took, you heard this saying so many times, they took the chains off of us and they put them around our brain. And we still living in that. So, Brother Sankofa, like I said, this is one of the many of dialogues that I think we should have. I want to hear what people have to say, the people who really, really care and the people who are really, really supportive, not just trolls or people who just think that they just want to talk because they got a fucking mouth or they just typing because they got fingers and shit. People who really, really care, who's concerned about our people. Doggie Diamonds is not perfect. Doggie Diamonds is not perfect. Mm-hmm. Brother Sankofa is not perfect. I do have a past of, fuck shit, but I've never, ever betrayed my people in the sense of not knowing who I was when it came to my people and doing right by my people. Even when I was doing fucked up shit, I didn't do it against my people per se. And when I say that to say, I wasn't out here saying, fuck these niggas, I gotta eat. And I'm, kill a black man, kill a black woman, let's destroy this. Some people are doing that on purpose. And you think that they're not doing it. No, this is their purpose. Their purpose is to help the fucking enemy. You know what I'm saying? So I might have done wrong based off of conditions and based off of not knowing any better. But once I got knowledge of self, I completely changed my life, my mindset, and my actions completely around. That's what I'm saying. So, Brother Sankofa, I want to thank you for coming. Close us out.
Okay. I might want to close out by saying this. A lot of our issues are socio-political, economic, but at the root of why it persists and we aid and abet in our own stagnation as a collective is because the psychological damage that has done has never been reversed through religion or anything. Okay, so we don't want to take anything off the table. We shouldn't take pro-blackness off the table or Pan-Africanism, and we're going to go into that in segment 2. I also wanted, this is a little good gem right here. The book's not that thick because a lot of people, people are seeking knowledge.
Short
people
attention
like to
span,
read. Some people have short attention span. Some people are just busy. So they may have a short attention span because they have to, because of the kids, life, paying bills, and just stress in general. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they just got attention span. They ain't got no kids. You know what I mean? They just smoke a lot of trees. Okay, this is called Breaking the Curse of Willie Lynch. A psychic examination of slavery's haunting effects on the conscious of black men and women. It says a science of slave psychology, Breaking the Curse of Willie Lynch by Alvin Morrow. So he goes into a lot of the psychodynamics of what we're dealing with and why we're dealing with it on the losing end of the pendulum today. I want to close out by saying this too, because we can talk about so many different things. Both of us are vast in our perspectives, and we're passionate about what we talk about, and what we talk about tends to go into layers, and these things take up time.
Yes.
So there's going to be another segment, and it's going to get a lot deeper and a lot better. But I do want to close out by saying that, paying attention to platforms like this is very important for the same reason like why we're having the topic that we're having today. Topics like this is very important because you never know who's out there watching, who this may have opened their eyes up You know what I'm saying? Some people are just going to be perpetually blind.
And if we get one person,
yeah,
I'm happy.
Because that one person might wake up somebody
Plant
else,
the seed,
and that
yep.
person might spark a cause. Might spark.
It only take one seed.
Like Tupac Shakur said, small sparks causes big fires.
Yep.
Okay, so I want to say it's about on the ground. I want to give a shout out to the different organizations that are on the ground doing things. I've been out in Connecticut a lot lately, out in New Haven. Shout out to New Haven, Connecticut, and shout out to the CTRBG movement who are on the ground. They're actually teaching the kids. They have full scholarships for the kids. They have a dojo where they're teaching the children self-defense. Not only self-defense, but self-discipline. They're teaching them culture. When you go into you've seen the video, right? If you go check out the Dynamic University on Baba TV, you'll see your brother Sankofa on the ground, because see what happens is, in closing, I want to say this, that a lot of us, debates are very good. Shout out to my big brother Sarnetta. Shout out to Black News 102, the platform upon which I am the spokesperson for, okay? But a lot of people look at us just as a debaters. And debates are good because we are people that are seeking knowledge and have to come to a general consensus of what truth is. However, we don't want to get too distracted by debating dogma and forgetting about practicalities. See, things that we need to be practicing. You know what I'm saying? So we are also doing that. I, as a proponent of Black News 102, for those who are the naysayers and also the spokesman, you don't see me in front of the lens of the camera all the time on purpose. There's times I fall back, Brother Sankofa, on purpose because I don't want to be affiliated with somebody who is just camera thirsty. I have things in my own personal life that I need to work on and sort out. I'm a real person with real issues, but I am really, at the same time, and real committed with this. But see, the determining factor of the pros and the cons is not just how much knowledge you got, because a lot of people are just infomaniacs. They are elated and mentally masturbate predicated upon the level of knowledge that they have and their ability to convey it and people's response to it. They become camera hungry.
YouTube stars now.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now see, some people may perceive me as arrogant. That's called passion and strength. I'm very humble, and my work that I've been doing a lot on the ground shows that, because I don't do it. I spend money to go do that. I spend money for transportation to go get that. I don't have no protection. I don't even have a GoFundMe or PayPal set up. And I'm on the biggest pro-black conscious platform right now. You know what I'm saying? But what I get out of this, besides the social political dynamics that we're talking about, is being a servant to the people. You know, when I go down there on the ground with the brothers at the dojo, and I just did a health and nutritious class out there at, shout out to Stetson's Library out in New Haven, Connecticut too. New Haven is a very bad city, one of the fourth highest murder rate in the country, fourth most dangerous city. At one point, it was the second most dangerous, very small, one of the oldest black cities where Amistad even took place at. Wow. Right there where the original Panther Party, one of the original Panther Parties and strongest groups that were was in New Haven, Connecticut. Look it up. To be there on the ground organizing with people who are straight RBG and they're pro-black substance. They're black power substance, not black power symbol. I'm going to say it again. Black power substance. And because that doesn't always require a camera behind it, because the enemy doesn't need to always see what you're doing. So don't think that when we say pro-blackness, this is a YouTube thing or a YouTube dialogue or debate. There are actually sincere people, and I'm just one of many unseen ones. I'm just one verbally expressing this to you that are on the ground. So get involved. If we don't get involved and get right, we get left. Get right or get left. Right where the hell you're at and fall behind in this ever-evolving and advancing world. I want to close out with that and say black power until next time.
So, I'm Doggie Diamonds. He said discipline. You already know. I got the clothing line right here called Discipline. Make sure you check that out. Shop.doggiediamondsTV.com. Like I said, I got a Patreon account where you could donate $1 a month. $1 a month. And if you don't want to donate, you could buy some merch. It all goes to the same cause. He could tell you we're in a beautiful office.
Beautiful. Air conditioning,
downtown Brooklyn that I pay for out of my pocket. I'm not a part of none of these corporate sponsored places. This is everything that I'm doing.
That's black power.
That's black power. You know what I'm saying?
Doesn't mean kill whitey.
Look, and we do that, the motherfucking lights go out. That's how crazy. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. I'm Doggie Diamonds. Peace.
Peace.
What's up? This is Doggie Diamonds. Make sure you stop by shop.doggiediamondstv.com and pick up your Discipline snapback and t-shirt.
Without discipline, I wouldn't have been able to lose 117 pounds. So I decided to create a clothing line to reflect my healthy lifestyle change and my mental change. Without discipline, we're lost. So get you some clothing to help you stay focused like I did. What does the symbol mean? Inside of the symbol is the kokulan, which is a West African symbol for discipline and nurture. Around it is a circle with arrows that stands for routine, repetition, and completion. You got all types of colors that you can match up with. So make sure you pick up your snapback and your t-shirt now in your favorite colors for yourself or a friend. Thank you.